All right. This is the September 10th board meeting for Thurston County Fire Protection 8, and we'll call the meeting to order. Our first order of business is any public comment. We have some of our employees here. No comments. All right. We'll just jump right forward then to the chief's report, please.
Certainly, thank you. Did get the report out on the monthly report. Unfortunately, we didn't have a financial portion to it again this month. We did not receive our March reports from the county that they're having this on. And it's raising a heck with the county government and us, so that's important for us.
Yeah.
You might imagine.
Stop.
So I guess I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. All right, any questions for the chief on the monthly report?
Oh, really? You started?
Yes, ma'am, 5:30.
No, I do not have any.
Okay. No questions? I had a couple of things on that, and on page 3 where we talk about training, and there's always a lot of detail about our EMS training, quarterly fire training topics, quarterly EMS and Medic 1 topics, and then leadership. I think this is the same sentence that is in every monthly report, which is battalion and company level officer training. And I was wondering if we could get a little more detail about what that was. Are we, what are we training on?
I can give you second-hand information, or you could get first-hand information from our very own training officer.
Well, and I'd be wonderful to get a little bit of input tonight, but in terms of going forward, if we could get some information about that. I mean, there's so much detail about everything else, but on our leadership, it's like, yeah, we're doing something.
Well, I will tell you that I take the information really off of our training program, so I probably haven't drilled down to it as much. But maybe you could highlight some training, for our officer level.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we came up with the officer development program, which is essentially a guide for any acting officer or somebody that wants to begin becoming an officer. It kind of instructs them in the responsibilities, but also the tools that they need, gives them some of the tools, some of the training in order to become an officer of the department. So we did it 2 years ago when Brian Fatima went through with that group as well. The same officer development program is in place now, and Firefighter Gibler here is going to go through it. It's been issued already. We have 4 people that are currently going through it. But the ODP program will be changing somewhat because of our platforms that we have with ER, Active 911, CrewSense. Those, the IT pieces of that will be changed because we're switching to first two. So it's one of those things that we're constantly massaging. In terms of action items on scene, they'll be acting in the role of officer. Matter of fact, today, you mind if I use this? Okay, so right now we have a lieutenant, a hard guard lieutenant with Lieutenant Bigani. He's actually driving today, even though Fatima has been an acting officer for 1.5 years, almost 2 years now. Yeah, so he's been quite a long time, but now today, well, we have supervision here. He's just spent the day in the role, the right seat officer, so that he can stay fresh, because we don't get that many opportunities to act. Right. But that is the goal with that. As far as the battalion chief, that role, Lieutenant Bigani will be going through, but that's one that we don't have a requirement for promotion. The ODP program is a requirement for promotion to lieutenant. So we have a lieutenant program for testing that might be coming up in 2025. So we'll get people as ready as we can internally for that, but we do not have a requirement for the battalion chiefs to go through an ODP in order to test to be a battalion chief. However, we want to make sure that we have succession planning built up. I mean, we have redundancy and resiliency inside each shift. So Lieutenant Bigani will be eligible by time and grade in January of 2025. I believe that's what we came up with But that's really the goal. is
Right,
to
and
kind of
so-
build that internal, resiliency so that we can act.
Understood. Just follow-up question then, so the ODP program is completely self-directed by those people?
Yes.
And so there isn't a topic of the quarter or of the month or of the day. It's do some ODP.
It's approximately 6 weeks, so if you're assigned, like, the time that you have to put in each shift is probably about an hour or two. In order to get through it without counting any of your acting days when you're in the role of the officer. But we do have requirements, certification requirements as well, that if you don't have blue card, for example, you gotta go to the 40-hour online blue card class, you have to complete that. We've got quite a few other courses that are required. Most of the certifications should be obtained prior to beginning the program. But in some instances, they're not.
Okay, thank you very much for the information. I guess, just the contrast between the level of specificity that we're talking about on numbers 1 and 2, and then the complete non-specificity in number 3, led me to ask the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or anybody have any comments on the chief's report? Again, thank you very much. All right, we're gonna go move on to talk about the ballot issue.
For the staffing update. Chief.
Oh, I'm sorry, stepping up. Pardon me, Mr. Lemay.
Mhm. So we had one volunteer resign since the last board meeting. We do have the one vacancy on A platoon still, the individual we made a conditional offer for, gone through the psych process now, just waiting on the results of that. We do have 2 career members that are out on injury right now, 2 different injury events, so we have 2 spots that are not gonna be.
Is it injury on the job or injury?
One yes, one no. So one will be on light duty starting tomorrow, and the other one we're waiting to hear how that's coming along, so. Kind of tough on the career side right now. We do have 9 volunteers on A and 10 on B and 9 on C platoon. So we're close to our 30 total.
Yeah, I think it's,
And if there's any other questions, I'm still be.
yeah, thank you. All right, now we'll move on. Sir,
Sure, Prop 1, as you know, at the primary ballot, it missed by a point and a half or so. So our plan then was to resubmit the general election, which we did. There is in the pamphlet, there will be a pro and a con statement, and as far as I understand, rebuttals for each as well. Retired Commissioner Harper was the one that took the lead in putting together a pro statement for us. And I think he did a his usual thorough job of doing that. So the election is November 5th. And at this point, we've shared information out. We will be sending out a newsletter that will be going out in the next couple of weeks. It's a general newsletter, but there will be a small article about Prop 1 in it. And the plan is to send out a informational brochure that will go out and should be in everybody's mailbox as of October 8th. No, October 1st. And
We'll have a copy of each of those, the
Yeah.
newsletter and the.
yeah, so the newsletter will be hopefully in everybody's mailbox mid this month, next couple of weeks, I guess.
September 20th is when it's supposed to be in.
Yeah. Excellent. So also, planning to have at our October meeting, October 8th, have a open public forum for the public to ask any questions. I'll do my brief presentation with the PowerPoint slides like we did last time. And hopefully we'll have some interest from the public on it. I have not received any direct comments from anybody yet, but as we progress and get the word out and everything, hopefully there will be some strong comments back.
Yeah.
So we have an opportunity to at least answer questions. So that's the plan right now. Again,
For
our primary role is to provide information to the public as a district. I did send out, last month a brief explanation of what we can and can't do with public resources as elected or officials or employees, volunteers, as private citizens who reside in the district at least can, electioneer, but not using any district resources, time, money, equipment, uniforms, that sort of thing.
Now, is that public workshop, what time is that? Is that gonna be before the,
It'll be, yeah, the meeting will open at 5:30 and we'll keep the agenda short and then the workshop will be at 6.
okay, and that will be Zoom, available Zoom?
Oh, yes, yeah,
Just, I'll be out of state.
yeah, no, actually, all of our meetings are hybrid now. All of our public meetings are hybrid. So.
Is there a idea of doing any outreach to community organizations like homeowners associations and offering to provide information to them at one of their meetings?
We haven't yet, no.
Do you think we should do some outreach like that? At least make contact with them and say, are you interested?
We can. In the past, we've not been terribly successful with that, but we can try it again, so sure.
Speak that with the
Well, we have, what, half a dozen maybe that are here regularly, like,
Yeah,
Fox Hall.
I certainly can provide whatever contact information I have
Yeah.
from the folks that use our facilities.
Other than the ballot meeting and other than just talking to HOA's comment signs, pamphlets and mails, are we going above and beyond this time around to hopefully assure that this vote gets passed this time around?
I'm sorry,
Are we putting signs in the ground? Are we putting?
the
pamphlets
district
in
is
the mailbox?
not, no.
Okay.
The district, all we can do is, we can't push for or against the measure. All we can do is provide objective information to our public, basically. I understand that there's a group of folks that are working on some electioneering activities, but that's beyond our district. Yes, I was gonna say is I did send out a small blurb about PDF. Yeah, PDC. Many, rules and regs on use of public facilities. And if you all have any questions, be glad to answer them.
Okay, ready to move on? Let's talk about the 2025 budget plan, review and discussion.
Sure, well, as a result of the upcoming Prop 1, which, the result of which will greatly drive what we do for the next 5 years. Typically, what I've done in the past was to, put together, at this month, you would see my first proposal for budget policy recommendations. And, thanks, Chief. However, I haven't done that yet because, one, it's quite a bit of work, and two, it will be greatly affected by the outcome of the ballot measure. So, what I do have here, though, is at a high level, what our budget will look like in 2025. Pick one. And actually, voters will pick one for us. So, it shows at a very high level what our expected expenses will be and what our estimated revenues will be. So we're starting to get some revenue information back from the county assessor. And it looks like our AV will be up, but it's very preliminary at this point. So I'm guessing it'll probably be about the same as it was last year, increase in total value.
3% or so.
3.5%, 3%. So we do have, because of the levy restoration last year, we will be able to increase our revenues at least 6% because of that. And any new construction, and that would be a little bit of frosting on the cloud with that, so. At this point, other than using a crystal ball, I really don't have any other input on the budget process. As soon as we're fairly certain what it will be, I can get those numbers out. Really, the only legal thing we need to do to drive a stake in the ground and everything is by, I don't remember, mid-November sometime, we have to declare what our tax collection should be. We don't need to adopt a expense budget until December 31st if we don't want to. I mean, the county doesn't need that. So we'll make sure that once it's more certain what our revenues will be, we'll establish that tax collection.
Right.
And then we'll develop an operating budget. So essentially, that's where we are as far as budget goes at this point.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Pretty similar to what we saw before. I'm sorry.
So gotta absorb it still.
Yeah,
Yeah, these are the same charts that you've seen before. I mean, there's no difference.
right. Okay,
Difference on the fund 6680 operations, for 2024 goes to 4.5, goes to 30.6, then drops back down to 20. It's a big
I'm
swing.
sorry.
On the operations expense budget, for 2025 jumps to 30.6%. So just a big difference on either side of that. It stands out. In the two stations plan.
Yeah.
You don't either.
yeah,
I don't have a different page.
no,
Same one.
Well, yeah, that's because of the excess levy.
Yeah.
okay. Ready to move forward? Okay, let's talk about the master planning updates.
I also sent out copies of the draft master plans, and I'd like to talk a little bit about what the process is. So, as part of our goals and objectives this year was to look through our master planning documents that we have. And I did earlier this year provide kind of a background of how we got to where we are today and everything, and ending up with a series of more defined, I'll call it program master plans, like the training, emergency response, health and safety and so forth. So we went and worked together with each of our program managers to take a look at their area and look at their 5 to 10-year-old plan was, and then update it to better match what their vision of the program would be and everything. So the assignment was really that they take it, look at it, and then personalize it, and then send it back to me. What I did do was look through it basically and ask some questions and so forth, but primarily was to standardize the format. So they should look similar. Of course, content will be different, but so what you're seeing generally is what the program managers have sent to me, looked at, and the effort now is all you to take a look at it, offer any questions, offer any suggestions, comments, whatever. Then if there's edits, changes, or anything like that, what we will do is, make a final change to that. And then what I'd like to do is next month, bring it back forward to you for final adoption. And then we'll update that master plan. And then as we learn what which option the voters pick for us, then we can write our business plan for 2025 that will incorporate the details that are in the master plan. So what happens with all of these next beyond the budgetary sense would be that each of the program managers now will have pretty clear, high level direction of what their program goals and objectives should be. And then the intent will be then over 2025, we'll refine those and better define what they all mean through a series of policy or policy changes that we have, and if needed, more discrete, descriptive procedures, or even detailed guidelines if necessary for some of the things. So we're actually going from a very high level vision of each program and then better defining it through staff work, if you will. So you'll probably see in 2025 some new or modified policies as a result of all this. There will probably be some resulting procedures as well to better describe some of the more critical items in this as well. So that's kind of the flow of information we're looking at with this master planning process. And I know that's an awful lot, but I'm trying to keep it as high level as I can. I don't know that you've all had a chance to look at those yet, but I would really welcome any comments or questions that you might have. I know Doug has looked at it. But again, this is really some good work I'm seeing from our program managers in that. The idea here again also is to make sure that they all interconnect, and you'll notice part of the format in the master planning document was recognizing the fact that, what I do in my program will affect other programs as well. So we need to make sure that we've got the cross connection, if you will, between the different programs.
Do you get like a red line copy or something so it stands out any changes they made, or do
The-
you just get?
The format was so different that it would have not been
it would-
helpful. So, what you can do is, you've gotten a copy of the previous plans, you can
Yeah.
look at it. Yeah,
Go back to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I have
That's
it in
probably-
that, and then I have it somewhere else too.
yeah, it's probably the best way to do that.
Okay.
So now in updating the, all of the annual sick leave and the community risk and all of those, was that each department head taking and putting this together? And yeah, so it wasn't lawyers or anything like that, it was just more,
No, I mean, this was their opportunity to really customize their program to where they feel it should go, and that was the whole effort was to.
I think it's great, because they're the ones that have to
Exactly.
deal, so it's better that they
Yeah.
have input in it and not just one person saying this is how it's gonna be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we've been working with the battalion chiefs, Chief LeMay and Heidi, over the past 2 or 3 months, to hopefully, make sure that they talk to each other as well. So, and there will be much more of that as we move ahead too.
Well, I know over the years you had to update a lot of policies because they're either outdated or new changes and state rules and regulations and that, so it's just an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it is. And,
But I mean, just point on that. These aren't policies, these are program descriptions.
Oh, yeah, these.
Yeah.
Well, then why
So-
does it say policy manual at the top?
Because that's not the topic we're talking about. That is part of the stuff that we had. That's actually that's our policy discussion.
next one. Okay,
Later
okay.
agenda item.
I guess I
Yeah.
didn't, I forgot to print off then the other one, that's why.
They were about, it was an email with about 6 attachments.
Right.
Well, I went down to Heidi's.
I thought one here, do you want it?
This is the one we're talking about?
Yeah, all like 4 or 5 of them in there, community risk reduction training.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did have a copy of it.
That's
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
thank you.
So, I did have a couple of comments. Dan, did you have anything you wanted to add or ask? Or, no? So I just start with, kind of going in order, facilities and equipment. If you look at the facilities and equipment piece here, the only thing it says about facilities is that we're deploy resources from 2 primary staff fire stations. That's it. So there's if this is a program that addresses our facilities and equipment, it doesn't say anything about our facilities. And I think it should. I think it should talk about, we should have something in here that recognizes that we have to do maintenance on our facilities in order to make them operational. Or we're not gonna be able to have staff at 2 fire stations. So I think there should be some recognition in there. Otherwise, if we don't wanna have anything about facilities, then it should just be retitled back to apparatus and equipment.
Okay, that's a good point.
The other, there was, I had a couple of like, edits, and I'll give those to you, just typo kinds of things or different way of saying things. But the other one, and trying to understand what these are, understand that these are high-level descriptions of the programs. A number of them talk about making improvements. Let's, move forward, continue improvement, those kinds of things. Which is fine as a, big goal. Let's just get better. But how do we measure whether or not we've achieved that goal? If there isn't any, better how? Well, we have more people that do, pass the officer training program in the, recommended amount of time than we did in the past, or, things like that. There's a number of these here, and one of the things I looked in here, on training, it says standardize the training. Discrepancies must be identified. Okay, that's great. But again, and just sort of the thing I thought of is if we're talking about getting better, better is good. But, if there was something in there that even in a broad sense said, let's get feedback from our people on an annual basis and incorporate that. Let's do, some kind of feedback loop or something like that. Especially, and training is one of those where it's, it's going out to an individual, they're getting the training, they're learning, they're using, they're, achieving certain competencies. Some feedback about, gee, that was really hard for me to get there because the training was focused on a physical thing and I'm a, visual learner or, whatever it is, something like that. So that was just a thought I had with regard to how we could describe not only the program outline that we want to have, but on these things where we say, let's strive to get better. Okay, what are 1 or 2 things that you want to see better, or what are 1 or 2 methods that you would employ to get better?
Someone can measure.
Yeah, perhaps. Or even if it's a tool that, seeks feedback or something like that, that doesn't have to have a measurement necessarily to begin with. Again, if these are broad goals, then some sort of broad description about steps you might consider taking or implement to.
So you're less, the discussion is less about metrics than clarifying what the definition of better is.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, if this is high level, clarification of better would be good.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Was that in all of them or particularly training?
Kind of in general, I mean, I highlighted a couple things in training, but in general, there's,
Maybe that's
how are we gonna better ourselves?
maybe copies, comments.
Will do.
Okay.
That's good.
Good. Well, thank you.
Okay,
So, again, the plan is, I'm sorry, Kevin,
no, that was it.
would be to then, work a little bit further now with our program managers, make, bump up some changes and then bring them back for next month and then adopt them, hopefully adopted. Question, I have, sir.
Okay. Anything else? You ready to move on? Okay. All right, we've got our policy on annual sick leave.
Right, I sent this out again, we had received a couple of comments. But by and large, it's the same as it went out. This meeting, I would be asked for approval for the policy.
So you say sprinter's the same. Sorry.
Yeah. The one thing I saw was the inclusion of Juneteenth as a holiday identification.
Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And what does that holiday represent?
It is the date, as I understand, I won't say it wrong, that the slaves in Texas found out that they'd been freed.
2 years earlier.
I didn't.
A slight delay
What
in
it was for.
communication.
Okay.
Emancipation Proclamation, plus or minus 1865. Slaves in Texas found out about that in plus or minus 1867. On the 19th of June.
So we need.
You looking for approval, chief?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're looking for a motion, please.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Sign that. All right, and then the next policy that I sent you is a updated to our anti-harassment policy. You did not see a code revised version of this either because it was substantially changed. And it would have been hard to read if I sent a code revised version. So it pretty much stands alone. Now, this is as a result of one, regular updating of policies that we do. And we were made aware of some possible weaknesses in the policy that we currently have, so we felt it was a good time. Now, when we adopt this policy, we will begin doing a significant training program for all of our members on the updated policy and how it relates to our servant attitude principles that we have. And basically, I see it as two halves of a coin. One is the anti-harassment policy, if you will, is what you can't do. The servant attitude is what we hope you do. So
So when you do the training, do you bring an outside party in to train? You just train in-house?
what there will be some significant phases of the training. As the new policy is updated, I plan to go out and meet personally with all of the platoons and shifts, instructing them on what the changes that have been made, and as well as providing information on why we're doing it, what the changes were, why we did that, and so forth, as well as the reminding them all of the servant attitude principles that we have, and then generally answer questions, and then just, make people aware of what it all means, what our desired culture is, and so forth. That will be an effort that we'll do in the fourth quarter this year, probably in November.
And then when you did the harassment one, did you have the lawyer help you with all the wording and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah.
So we're like right on the legal bounds.
That's why you didn't get a code revisor version. So,
Better to do that, because then we know it's right, instead of somebody putting their own
we
spin on it.
Well, absolutely, and we're
Yeah.
taking it seriously. So we're gonna do what we'll call the refresher initial training. That will also form, that training will also form the basic training that new members will receive as part of their orientation process. So as they're coming into this organization, they'll get a CAN version of that same presentation plan to do. So all of that is planning on happening in the fourth quarter this year. Concurrent with all of that, we're developing training for all supervisors on the harassment policy and the servant attitude and incorporating it with our PDP process. So we're going to develop a fourth quarter training for all supervisors on, doing PDP evaluations for, all of our members that incorporates that information as well. So in fact, we met today and talked to Daryl about it, but we'll develop a PDP training for supervisors so that we can conduct 2024 PDP evaluations in the fourth quarter of this year. So the plan, and this is a little different than we've done in the past, so the plan will be to do all the evals in 24. And then after January into 25, we'll be doing the PDP expectations portion process. So anyway, so there will be 2 levels of training, one for everybody and then one for supervisors. And working on that now.
One thought I had on this was that it does say all members, in terms of responsibilities, all members are supposed to understand and follow the policy. So when you have a new hire, this ought to be part of the onboarding, right? Is that something that we would add to the policy, or is that like a procedure of how to implement the policy? I mean, I don't care, but the other part of it is we ought to periodically go through this again.
Yeah, just the process that I just mentioned was not included in the policy. And you and I talked about it. I think it's an oversight. I think I will add a section in there, at least at a high level, saying that this policy shall be upon entry in the organization and then regularly scheduled every year for each employee that year. Something to that effect.
Yeah, whatever the period that's appropriate, but yeah, there ought to be a refresher or,
So, yeah, that was something that was missing in this draft. Well, it makes good sense.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Okay. Other comments? Any questions? Okay. And this is we're not looking for promotion on this one. This is just for discussion review. This will be for us again next month, partly for adoption.
Right.
All right, we're ready to move forward. Go to the secretary's report.
I don't have a lot to share about the COT with the, but I don't think I mentioned that at the last meeting that Kyle Yenny has been officially been given the approach pay position to be the COT coordinator.
Okay,
But I believe that only goes through November, correct? And then
That's what,
it's effective now, but then we're gonna reopen them,
all positions rebid
All will be-
based in October.
right, in October. So for now, that's what he's doing, and he's doing a great job. There's not a lot going on with the schools or anything right now just yet, but I know he's doing a lot of planning and getting a timeline developed and themes for the month and accumulating stuff like that. So we're still doing the social media. That's been an ongoing thing, and so it's going. Any questions on the COT?
How often do you review those pro pay positions? Is that annual, every 3 years?
Annual,
It's annual? And is that a process to get those people in those positions? It is.
every October, they all rebid for them based on seniority.
okay.
So my next item are the minutes from our last meeting in August. I didn't have any changes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for August 13th.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. I wasn't here last month, so I
Right.
don't know if I should abstain or.
Okay. Were there any questions on the warrants?
I know that there's so many papers. Oh, I wish you were on top. Oh, this, number 902, it says attention Aspire Matrix Trust. Is that? like
That is
from
money
retirement
that we're not
thing?
actually paying. That's a deduction that comes out of the employees' paychecks. It's a deferred comp.
Oh,
And it,
okay,
we just make the payment for that.
okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, that is hard.
Okay, cool. Good.
Anything else?
I make a motion that we approve the warrants as they are.
Okay. Second, moved, seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you. And then the Washington Fire Commissioners Association Conference update, just letting you know that Dan, Gloria, Doug, and Chief Van Camp are all registered to attend. They have hotels, except for Gloria, who's using her home, and you're all signed up for the SNOR seminars. So that's that.
It's in like 30 minutes from it.
Yeah, thank you.
And the
Forward
other,
to it.
the other thing I'll share with you is that I'm going on vacation next week and I'm gonna be gone for a month. And Janet has been trained to do some of my duties, the ones that are critical, like she's gonna pay the quarterly payroll. I'm taking care of regular payroll before I leave and then when I get back. And this guy here is gonna do the next board meeting for me. Chief Van Camp's gonna do any public records requests. And yeah, the world is not gonna fall apart.
See.
Hopefully you're doing something.
I did want to ask a question though about we had a Red Cross blood drive today at Station 83. How did that go? Do you have any idea?
There's cars in the parking lot.
Yeah,
Okay,
when we visited, but we didn't hear anything from
all right,
H83 crew, but
okay.
it seemed like it went fine.
Well, it was interesting because we've done blood drives here before. And then we kind of sort of hosted one last year at 83. They had approached us, but we were heavily involved with it. Well, this time I was approached by a gal that wanted to use our facilities for the blood drive. And I said, yeah, sure. And I scheduled her like I would for any other event. And I made the mistake of saying, if you want, I'm happy to do a little advertising for you if you give us the, promos for it. Well, then, and they never did give us promos, but we kept getting all these emails implying that it was our blood drive. And in fact, the woman that had originally set it up transferred her control to somebody else in their organization. And then I got another email the day before the event saying that person wasn't gonna be here, and I'm like, what is going on right now? It was kind of weird, but.
They thinking you were gonna run the blood
I
drive or
don't
something?
know what they were thinking, but that's why I was asking.
Did it happen?
Oh, wait.
Because I sort of pawn it off on the on-duty crew, whoever's over there has to kind of open the building for them and, check on them, but yeah, I didn't know how it went, so I guess we'll find out.
They managed it all themselves.
Good,
Yeah,
good,
they were fine. We stopped it.
all
Did
right.
they have lots of people come and get blood?
We were there, there's only like four. So
Four
there wasn't a
people?
lot when we were there.
Well, the way it works is you're supposed to sign up and register online for a slot and you make an appointment. So I don't know how that looked, but yeah. The first time we did it, we were so full, we didn't have any more slots. And then the second time we did it, we didn't have enough slots to have it. So I don't know.
The lady that was running it said they had about 30 people signed up, and there's a pretty steady flow of folks going in and out all day. So I would say it's probably a success.
Oh, good, good. Thank you for that, Christian.
That's far out. Oh, sorry.
That's it.
What?
That's far out.
Oh, it's at Evan?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought I let Christian in on the meeting. It's been. Never mind. All right,
Yeah.
sorry about that. Anyway, that's all I have for announcements right now.
Okay. Any comments?
I'd just like to make mention that the chief sent out the message today that how Ally and Chief Ernest Smith helped out. I think that should be recognized.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat.
It was.
Yeah, and the person that they helped commented to me too, how wonderful that was. It's one of our receptionists who is a frequent flyer. And, yeah, so, and it's not just that, we've had other on duty, I think Evan actually repaired her, porch for her, I think, is that right, Evan? Are you listening now or no?
Yeah, we went over her, she fell one day because the handrail going into her house was really rickety, so I went over there and put a bunch of cabinet screws in it and secured it up for her.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
It's nice getting those little messages.
It really is.
Above and beyond extra things that.
Okay. Any review and follow-up? Sure.
We will, keep you posted on the events for Prop One at our October meeting, and we'll be sending out, an updated agenda for the public workshop that you'll have at that day. Also, we'll make contact with, appropriate local neighborhood groups to see if they would be interested in having a presentation on Prop One. We pretty much will be, we'll be looking at approval of our master plan updates and all of that at our next month's meeting. And really, the formal number crunching budget stuff will probably have to wait till after the first week of November, so. And then ask for any input you might have on the anti-harassment policy, so we can adopt it. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? With that, we're gonna recess our meeting for executive performance review. And I'm thinking that we only need about 15 minutes. Go through a couple things on that, and then we will come back afterwards and adjourn. We will be taking no formal actions or making any decisions on things during this session.
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.